Hello everyone. So first of all, welcome to English 302. I am Professor Michelle Conklin-Kusel. You can just refer to me as Professor Kusel to make your life easier. And I'm just going to do a quick overview of the major assignments in English 302 and give you an explanation of how they build upon one another so that you will understand the rationale for how they work. So let's get started. So you have three major assignments, but they all focus on one topic. In this version of English 302, all the major assignments share one topic. Your focus is to identify and research a current, unresolved, controversial issue in your discipline and determine what change you would like to see in relation to it. Examples from prior students include the following: reformation of the redistricting process in Virginia to eliminate gerrymandering of congressional districts, increasing training for daycare workers to meet the needs of children with learning disabilities, expanding mental health care options in rural areas, and improving training of healthcare workers to decrease mortality rates of African American women during and shortly after the childbirth process. So, guide to materials on Blackboard. If you look under the assignment section in Blackboard, you will find all the assignment guides and rubrics for each of the three major assignments: the research proposal and source evaluation, the literature review, and the advocacy letter. You will also find additional materials to guide you through the course under helpful handouts and links, assignment examples, example papers for different style manuals, assigned reading outside of textbook, and discussion board. If you click on tools, you will see a link to groups, which will allow you to work with your assigned group members to peer edit one another's drafts. I highly encourage you to reach out to members of your group so that you can get to know each other and help one another by looking over each other's work before you submit it. How the major assignments relate to one another. The research proposal and source evaluation identifies your research topic and demonstrates your ability to differentiate useful from weak sources. So, research proposal and source evaluation, one paper. It's all one paper. And we'll get into the components of that in a couple moments. The literature review enables you to transform your 3 or 4 research questions into subtopics that you describe by placing your 8 or more sources into conversation with one another. And finally, the advocacy letter provides you with the opportunity to appeal to someone in your field or someone in government who can make a substantial change in relation to your issue. You will draw heavily upon your research to make your case for your solution. So, while I will create a presentation to break down each of the major assignments, I will provide a short description of each of these assignments and their purposes. The research topic proposal and source evaluation paper requires you to do the following. In the introductory paragraph, explain the topic you wish to focus on this semester, including the research questions that will drive your investigation of the problem and the solution you propose to solve the problem or significantly reduce its adverse effects. In addition, you need to identify what style manual your discipline uses, such as MLA, APA, CSE, IEEE, Chicago Manual Style Author Date format, Chicago Manual Style Notes and Bibliography format, and so forth, that you will use throughout the semester for your assignments. So your proposal is restricted just to that first paragraph. Think of it as a trial balloon that you're sending up. You're going to talk about your research questions. You're going to talk about the main topic. You are going to explain what solution you would like to propose. So make sure you go through that assignment guide and go through all the other materials that I provide, such as the grading rubric, videos, PowerPoint, etc., and assignment examples, so that you can see what that source evaluation and the proposal look like. Because after you propose your topic in the introductory paragraph, then you are going to spend your body paragraphs evaluating your sources. One source per body paragraph. So, in each body paragraph, you will evaluate a source you are considering using for your assignments. You will use the source evaluation rubric and there will be a walkthrough video that tells you how to use the rubric to determine the credibility, the reliability, the timeliness of your source. To determine your source's credibility, relevancy, and currency in relation to your proposed topic. Forgive me for repeating myself. In the concluding paragraph, you will explain which sources you intend to retain that you examine and which ones you will discard and why. You may find you wish to keep all of them, keep none of them, or keep some and discard others. You will use first person to describe what moves you have made as a researcher and writer, but not to preface your opinions. Don't engage in hedging. Don't undermine your own credibility by sounding hesitant, by using phrases such as, I think, I feel, I believe, in my opinion. Get rid of those. If you have to, do a search through your document for phrases like that. If you've used those in the past, eliminate them. Just chop them off and make the assertion. You'll be surprised how that move can make you sound like a much more confident writer. If your name is on something, it's safe to say that any opinions that you express, if they don't come from a source, are yours. Don't beat the reader over the head with the fact that you're asserting your opinion. Reader's not a dummy. Let's assume the reader's fairly intelligent and will understand that this is your opinion. Again, as long as it's not from a source. Literature review. This is the assignment that will take up most of your time and energy due to its depth and complexity. Unlike a research paper in which you focus on the evidence to make your case, the literature review requires you to comb through your sources to identify the stances of your authors in relation to your main topic and subtopics, and then structure a conversation and or debate for each of your subtopics. Any sources you identified as credible in your source evaluation can be carried over into literature review, allowing you to build upon your prior research rather than starting over again. So again, work smarter, not harder. Anything you think is worthwhile, credible, timely, relevant, you can just move that over into literature review. And then finally, we have the advocacy letter. Although this assignment is brief in terms of word count, it is also the most concentrated in terms of research content and the most focused piece. So you have to think in terms of, you have a limited amount of space in which to capture the reader's attention. You want to make the most focused, in-depth argument possible so that your reader will see that you have brought the receipts, you are prepared, you are knowledgeable, you know this topic inside and out, and therefore you should be taken seriously. So all this work, all these words that you've written before now you got to figure, okay, what is the essence? Distill it, concentrate it, focus it, and use it to make a really compelling letter. Okay? In addition to infusing the letter with your research and making your case for your proposed solution to the problem at hand, you will also need to conduct research about your letter recipient. You need to figure out what power he or she has to make a decision or change a practice, so you will understand exactly what to ask this person to do. In addition, you want to know this person's stance on your issue and read through any available documents, such as speech transcripts, hearing testimony, social media posts, op-eds, or position papers that this person has created, to identify what types of evidence and persuasive techniques that person uses, which will give you insight regarding what types of evidence and persuasive appeals will resonate with him or her. People tend to use the types of evidence that they feel is most compelling for them. So this will give you a window into their way of thinking, and you can in turn make sure you lean towards that kind of evidence in formulating your letter. Final thoughts. If all the materials I have provided don't answer one or more questions you have, please email me, come to my office hours via Zoom, or request an appointment via Zoom if you cannot make my office hours. And you'll want to look at the syllabus for the current office hours and Zoom link. So I hope that helps. And, this is something that will help you learn how to make persuasive arguments, not just in your future work, not just in the courses that remain that you're going to take here at Mason, but also when you have occasions in your personal life that you have to persuade people to do something. You will find these skills can be very, very useful. And we all have battles to fight, be it with City Hall or with insurance companies or, landlords or whomever. You will find the ability to find relevant evidence and then make a persuasive argument will serve you well throughout your life. So thank you all, and look forward to working with you, and take care. Bye-bye.